Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to get into it today?
No, absolutely. I love these deep dives, always so insightful.
Yeah, and today we're looking at this interview with this really successful entrepreneur, and it's really about wealth creation
Yeah.
and just kind of their perspective on it. One of the things that really jumped out at me was this idea of a broke mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of
I
that?
have heard of that. Yeah.
So it's basically this idea that, like, we're conditioned to think a certain way about money.
Right. Or that it's not attainable.
Like, it's for other people,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not for us.
Absolutely.
And, I think there is some truth to that. Like, societal factors definitely play a role,
Like time. Yeah.
like access to resources and education and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
But this entrepreneur really pushes back against that and says you can break free from it
Okay.
by focusing on high leverage activities.
My leverage activities.
Yeah. Have you heard that term before?
I have. Yeah.
So it's basically like focusing on the things that will give you the biggest return.
Right. So you're not just kind of spinning your wheel.
Exactly. You're being strategic with your time and your energy.
Yeah. It's like that 80-20 rule, right?
Yes, exactly like the Pareto
Oh,
principle.
the Pareto principle. Oh, yeah.
80% of your results come from 20% of your effort.
Exactly. Identify that 20%.
And like double down on that.
Absolutely.
So they had this really interesting example to illustrate this.
Okay.
Imagine like you buy a building for $10 million
Okay.
and then you sell it for $11 million.
Right.
You make $1 million profit.
Yeah.
And the key is you don't need any money up front.
You just need the knowledge.
You need the skills and the knowledge
Yeah.
to know how to do that.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
So it's all about like your human capital.
Yes,
Yeah.
investing in yourself.
Exactly.
That's your biggest asset.
So they're a huge advocate for education
Makes sense.
and mentorship.
Yeah.
And they've invested a lot in that themselves.
Oh.
Like mentorships and coaching programs.
Okay.
And they say it's been invaluable.
Yeah, because if you can find someone who's already done what you want to do,
Right.
they can help you avoid the pitfalls.
Exactly. And they can accelerate your progress.
It's huge. Yeah.
So then they talk about these 3 core skills
Okay.
that are essential for anyone who wants to be a high earner.
All right. I'm intrigued. Lay them on me.
Okay. So it's selling, building, and leading.
Selling, building, and leading. Okay. Break those down for me a little bit.
So selling is basically persuading people to see the value in what you offer.
Right.
Building is creating something, whether it's a product, a service, a system
Yeah.
that solves a problem or provides value.
Okay.
And then leading is inspiring and guiding others,
Okay. Got it.
whether it's a team or your customers.
Makes sense.
And they use this really simple example to illustrate it.
Okay.
A dog walking business.
Right.
Seems pretty basic, right?
Yeah.
But you have to sell your services.
Right. Convince people to hire you
Yeah, you have to build a system.
for walking the dogs.
Like figure out the routes, how to manage multiple dogs.
Yeah, that's the building part.
And then if you want to grow, you have to hire people.
And lead them.
Exactly. So even that simple business model,
Encapsulates it all.
it have all those elements.
It's like that lean startup methodology, right?
Oh, yeah.
Minimum viable product tested, iterate.
Exactly.
Oh,
So we're going to take a quick break, or we'll be right back.
sounds good. So we were talking about those 3 skills: selling, building, leading.
Yeah. And it's interesting how they all kind of work together, right?
Absolutely. You can't really have one without the others.
Especially if you want to grow and scale your business.
Exactly. So then this entrepreneur talks about habits for success.
Oh, yeah. They're big on minimizing the time between waking up and starting work.
The early bird gets the worm.
Right. But it's not necessarily about like waking up at 5 a.m.
More about maximizing your output from the moment you start your day.
Exactly. Finding your peak productivity times.
And creating a schedule that aligns with that.
Yeah. And they bring up this concept of the 20-hour rule.
The 20-hour rule, what's that?
So it's the idea that you can learn almost any skill
Okay.
to a decent level with just 20 hours of focused effort.
Oh, wow. That's pretty encouraging, actually.
Right. Like it makes things seem more attainable.
Yeah, for sure.
And they share this story about how it took them 4 years to build a website.
4 years.
But when they actually sat down and did it,
How long did it take?
only 4 hours.
Wow. So it was the procrastination holding them back.
Exactly. And I think we can all relate to that.
No, absolutely.
Putting things, even when we know we shouldn't.
So true.
So then they talk about this mental hurdle that many entrepreneurs face.
Which is,
Earning 6 or 7 figures.
oh, yeah, that can be a big one.
They can feel so daunting.
Absolutely. It's like, how do I even get there?
Right. And they say the key is to break down those big, scary numbers.
Into smaller chunks.
Exactly. Like, let's say your goal is to earn $1 million. Break it down into 1,000 sales of $1,000 each.
Okay, I see.
Suddenly, it doesn't seem so impossible.
It's more manageable. Yeah.
Right. And it's just about 3 sales per day.
So it's about reverse engineering your goals
Exactly, like figure out the steps you need to take.
to get to that big number
And then they talk about the importance of having a clear vision.
for your life and business.
Yeah. Where do you want to go? What impact do you want to make?
It's like having a roadmap.
Right. It gives you direction and motivation.
Yeah, and they use this interesting analogy.
What's that?
They compare life to a poker game.
A poker game.
Yeah, we spend our lives amassing chips,
Yeah.
possessions, achievements, relationships.
But ultimately, we can't take them with us.
It's an illusion of ownership.
So it makes you think about what really matters.
Exactly. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
And then they get really personal.
Oh, how
They
sick.
talk about their own struggle with needing external validation.
Oh, that's something a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, especially when it comes to money and success.
Like measuring our self-worth based on what others think.
Exactly. And they realize that true validation has to come from within.
That's a powerful realization.
It's about aligning your actions with your values,
And finding satisfaction in the journey itself.
not just the destination.
Yeah, because the journey is where the growth happens.
Exactly. And they acknowledge that it's an ongoing process.
It's not like you just flip a switch.
Right. It takes time and effort to cultivate that inner confidence.
And they have this great tip for identifying the root of our need for validation.
What's that?
They say, ask yourself, whose opinion am I truly worried about?
That's a good one.
Often it boils down to just a few people.
Right. And sometimes we give them way too much power
Absolutely. So it's about recognizing those patterns.
and consciously choosing to break free.
Exactly.
Right.
So then they move on to some more practical stuff.
Like business and wealth creation,
Okay.
they emphasize the importance of choosing high leverage opportunities.
Especially ones with low capital expenses.
You know, like service-based businesses, digital products.
Things that don't require a lot of upfront investment.
Exactly. And they point out that some of the most successful businesses
Like insurance companies, banks.
have been around for centuries.
They've weathered all sorts of economic storms.
Right. It suggests their business models are fundamentally sound
So it's about finding businesses that solve essential human needs.
and have a proven track record of success,
And for those in the service industry, they recommend aiming for high gross margins.
like above 80%.
Which means for every dollar you spend, you should earn at least 5.
That allows you to reinvest in your business and create a sustainable model.
And they also talk about how technology has made it easier than ever to start a business.
Right. The internet has opened up so many possibilities.
You can reach a global audience from anywhere in the world.
And then they make this really thought-provoking point about capitalism.
What's that?
They say it has a tendency to lead to a winner-take-all dynamic.
Meaning?
A small number of companies end up dominating a particular market,
Right, which can lead to economic inequality.
and they propose a radical solution,
I'm listening.
a 100% inheritance tax.
Wow, that's a bold idea.
Their reasoning is that all wealth is temporary anyway.
We can't take it with us.
Exactly. So they think this would encourage billionaires to be more philanthropic,
During their lifetimes.
knowing that their wealth would be redistributed upon their death.
It's definitely a controversial idea.
But it's interesting to think about.
For sure, it challenges our assumptions about wealth and legacy.
Then they share this observation about how people talk about money.
Ah, like what?
They say you can gauge someone's level of wealth.
By how they talk about their financial goal.
Yeah, like those who focus on daily or weekly earnings,
Tend to have a short-term perspective.
while those who think in terms of years or decades.
Have a deeper understanding of long-term investing.
So it's about playing the long game.
Exactly, thinking about the future.
And they're also big on personal development.
Makes sense.
They see a strong connection between our beliefs and habits.
And our financial outcomes.
They bring up the marshmallow test.
Oh, yeah, the one with the kids and the marshmallows.
Exactly. It studied delayed gratification.
And the kids who could wait longer.
Tended to have better outcomes later in life.
Interesting.
So they relate that to entrepreneurship
Like resisting the temptation for instant gratification.
and staying focused on long-term goals.
Which could be tough.
It takes discipline and patience.
And they talk about these 3 traits of ultra-successful people. An inflated sense of self-worth, a constant feeling of never being good enough, and strong impulse control.
It's an interesting combination.
It is. They believe in themselves, but they're always striving for more,
And they're able to delay gratification.
so they can stay focused on their goals.
They also emphasize expanding your time horizon.
When it comes to building wealth
It's about thinking long-term.
and being patient.
They share this story about their YouTube channel.
Oh, what happened?
When they launched it, they committed to creating content for 5 years.
Regardless of the results.
Exactly. That's long-term thinking.
Trusting the process.
And finally, they say one of the biggest reasons people fail,
Is that they prioritize local benefits over global benefits.
meaning they choose instant gratification over long-term rewards.
Like the salesperson who skips entering notes into the system?
It saves them time now but creates problems later,
It's about thinking about the bigger picture,
and prioritizing the well-being of the whole.
which ultimately benefits everyone.
It's like thinking about the ripple effects of our actions.
Yeah, and it ties into this idea of leaving a legacy.
Right, making a positive impact.
But they had this interesting twist on it,
What was that?
making things easier for the next generation.
Oh, I like that.
It's not about being the best or beating the competition.
It's about empowering others.
To achieve even more than you did.
Yeah, leaving the world a better place.
Exactly. And speaking of empowering others,
This entrepreneur's openness about their struggles.
was really inspiring.
Yeah, they were so candid about their need for external validation.
It's something we don't often hear from successful people.
But it's so relatable.
And their realization that true validation comes from within,
Was powerful.
aligning your actions with your values,
Finding fulfillment in the journey.
not just the destination.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
What are some key takeaways for our listeners?
yeah, what can they apply to their own lives?
Think about those limiting beliefs
The broke mindset.
and how to break free from it.
Look for those high leverage opportunities.
Invest in yourself through education and mentorship.
Develop those essential skills. Selling, building, leading.
Remember those powerful
It's
questions
about whose opinion you're really worried about
and what you need to believe about yourself.
to feel good enough.
True wealth is about more than just money.
It's about living a meaningful life.
Align with your values.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
Until next time, keep learning and growing.
And keep striving to create a life of true wealth and fulfillment.